Do you want to experience the thrill of a Packers game at Lambeau Field? If so, be sure to get your game tickets from the longtime trusted source in Wisconsin, Ticket King. Visit their locations in Milwaukee and Green Bay, or just go to their website, theticketking.com. Again, that's theticketking.com.
And now, for fans of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, this is Cheesehead TV Live.
Cheetahs don't stretch, and neither do we.
I think you're an idiot, and I mean that with the most respect possible that I can give to an idiot.
Packers Hall of Fame quarterback Jay Cutler.
It's not as fun to say as equanimous.
That is a perfect example of a wrong opinion. Ring the bell. Welcome back to Cheesehead TV Live, show number 2 of the 2019 season. I want to wish everybody, except for Katie, a very, very happy Sunday. Katie knows who she is.
By the way, Nagler's in the chat. He says, this is not me. So if anybody's wondering, no, there is no Aaron Nagler on the show. So
Katie knows who she is, and she's not part of my greeting. All right, so welcome back. Cheesehead TV Live. It's Jason and Jeremy. I'm Jason Perone of Cheesehead TV. This is Jeremy VanDerLinden.
What is up? What is up?
It is Sunday, and it has been nothing short of interesting since the preseason game 2 on Thursday and the chats and the Twitter conversation. And
the game itself was boring, but everything else has been.
It has been amazing. For those of you who have come
I don't
and
know
visited,
about amazing, but it's been a thing.
Amazing for us because we have something to talk about.
Sure.
So for those of you who have visited our Facebook page, thank you. Cheesehead TV Live Facebook page. You know what, Jeremy, while we're at it, why don't we do the social media bit?
Yeah,
you want to tell everybody where to find us?
Facebook.com/groups/Cheesehead TV Live. That is our group. You can jump in, join the conversation. It is a growing group. There's a lot going on there. We had a nice, fun conversation about quarterbacks this week, so jump in there. Don't miss out. We're actually going to be doing a lot of giveaways there this year, so we gave away a Nick Collins 8x10 autograph. As the season gets closer here, we're going to post one that we have coming. It's Blake Martinez 8x10. If you want to get in on that and win that 8x10, you want that Blake Martinez autograph, you can win that in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/CHTV Live.
Awesome. Okay, so someone said, why the title? What's with the title? Is it over yet? The preseason, that's why.
Right.
Preseason game 2 was very tough, and that's why the title. So, folks out there, listen, we want the engagement. We want the questions. We have, brace yourselves, a script. We're going to try to stick to it today. So, try to keep your questions to what we're talking about. We are going to save some time at the end for a big Q&A session. So, we might not get your question right away.
We do get, because of Nagler, in all the great stuff that he's making, and Corey, but mostly because of Packers Daily, Extra Cheese. This generally, we get taken over by the chat, and I don't mind that. But we have some things we want to hit on today, some topics we've been thinking about and talking about. So real quick, more social media, Twitter. You can follow us at Jason Perone, at CHTV Live. Do not follow me. I hate Twitter. Don't follow me. I don't want you to follow me on Twitter. But if you want to, it's at Jeremy RVDL. But I did cross that out, so don't do it. I
do want you to follow me on Twitter, although I don't sit there and count followers, and I don't know when I gain or lose them. And so, as a matter of fact, would everybody who's not following me or who has me blocked, please raise your hand or send me something on the chat?
No.
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing. Okay, great.
All right, so I'm wearing my Aaron Says Relax t-shirt because I think everybody just needs to kind of chill for
Take a deep breath.
Just kind of chill a little bit. It's like we're halfway through the preseason right now, and this Packers team looked like absolute garbage on Thursday night.
Garbage.
I'm not here to blow sunshine and rainbows up your you-know-what. I saw it. It was, as a matter of fact, and I'm going to own up to this right now, I feel like my Game Balls Lame Calls piece on Friday, recapping the game, was actually one of my weaker ones because it was so hard for me to find really, really bad and find good outside of what I did. And so, for example, I gave a lame call to DeShone Kizer because my rationale was he looked bad, so did Tim Boyle, but DeShone Kizer's the de facto number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
And he should be looking better by now. So I didn't give one to Boyle, but I gave one to Kizer. And then when I went back and watched the game over again or some of the clips and stuff, I was like, man, I missed that completely.
Jacob brings up a great point about the game. Can we tackle anyone? No.
Well,
because it's not something they practice.
All right.
No, I don't know. I don't know if that's the reason the tackling was so bad, but no.
Okay. So listen. So we're gonna do this in order today. Welcome everybody. Thank you again for being with us. We're gonna try to be with you every single damn week. and we're going to be doing the pregame shows live from the Watershed in Tempe, Arizona, every game day, whether it's a Thursday, Sunday, or Monday. But to start off the show today, some sad news that we woke up to this morning.
Yeah, terrible.
Cedric Benson passed away in a tragic motorcycle accident. He is a former Green Bay Packer. He spent 2012 with the team.
Yep.
He was drafted in the first round by the Chicago Bears. Played for the Bears for many years. Was with the Bengals. Spent a year with the Packers.
Dude was only 36. Like he's not much older than me.
Yeah,
so that's crazy.
Very young. So rest in peace to Cedric Benson.
Yep.
And
condolences to the family.
Yeah,
that's
to the family.
Terrible stuff. Terrible.
Yeah, not something we want to have to report, but we thought it was worth mentioning because Cedric Benson was part of the Packers family, and he actually, my biggest memory of him, because it was very brief, because he actually ended the season on injured reserve because of the Liz Frank injury, so he didn't play much. He was an instrumental part of winning that Thursday night game against the Bears, which for a Packers fan was one of the best parts of that game, besides the Tom Crabtree fake field goal touchdown.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that was a very short-lived year for Cedric Benson. The Packers fans didn't really get a chance to see what he could do, but it was in a time when Packers fans were dying for a running back. Like, I don't know if you remember, like, the hunger to have a high-quality running back at the time. And to finally get Cedric Benson in town, I was like, oh, my God, this is going to be awesome. And it was for a very short moment. A very short glimpse of Cedric Benson was fantastic.
Well, to have a high-powered running back or to have a high-powered name, because they're not the same thing.
You know what, though? Cedric Benson was great in the short time we saw him.
He was
great.
Well, he was better than what they had, and we're going to get to better than what they had later in this show when we talk about a different position. So, unfortunate news there. On the flip side,
happy news. Great news.
Very happy news. So some friends of the show had babies this week, and we want to acknowledge them and give some big shout-outs and congratulations to their family. Bart Winkler.
Yep, of WSSP in Milwaukee. Fantastic guy. Great show, morning show. WSSP had his first baby. And Brian Fonfara having his very first child as well of Pack to the Future. Both those guys, congratulations to them. Good news, positive news in the Packers blogosphere. There are more Packers fans pouring into the world.
Yeah. No,
Good
it's
stuff.
fantastic. And you and your beautiful wife have a baby due in
next we got like 4 weeks left.
Early October.
Like a month. Yeah.
Like late September.
No, September. Yeah.
It's coming up.
Like mid-September, I'll be having my second child.
And my brother from another mother, Jacob Westendorf of Pulse of the Pack, who's listening to the show right now and has given me an absolutely wonderful compliment in the chat already.
Yeah.
Very on brand for Jacob and his beautiful wife are expecting.
He hates you, by the way.
Oh, we had a total falling out. We don't even do Pack-A-Day together anymore. And he and his beautiful wife are expecting their first baby in the next couple of weeks. So lots of going on, lots of great stuff happening there. So congratulations, cheers to them. Brian is actually one of our Cheesehead TV Live Facebook page writers. You'll actually see some of his. What day is he doing? No, what day he goes?
I'm not sure what date it is, but if you want to say congratulations to Brian,
together.
Yeah, I suck. Jump into the Facebook page and say congratulations to Brian. All right.
Okay.
There's football to talk about.
All right,
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so today, Jimmy Graham hurt his thumb at practice. He was seen running into the Don Hudson Center, did not return to practice, and there was a comment made on social media by one of the writers who was there covering the practice that it could be broken. I don't know how you figure that out by the way he's walking, but they're saying it could be broken. Graham had a broken thumb last year. It definitely hampered his ability to play. He didn't have anywhere near the season that he could have or should have. The Packers were bad all around. But the tight end position is one the Packers did not really – they drafted Jay Sternberger in the 3rd round. So that's supposed to be a player that's going to play for you this season, but he wasn't their first overall pick. So they did address it, but I don't think Sternberger, from anything that I've seen so far, and he had the unfortunate, near decapitation in the joint practice with the Texans a couple weeks ago, hasn't done anything that's impressed me at all in preseason so far. So I don't know what he's going to be.
He hasn't practiced in almost 2 weeks, a week and a half, whatever.
Well,
and that all sucks. But the thing is, the reality is, here's the facts about tight ends. Rookie tight ends don't do squat. He's not going to make an impact on this offense. It doesn't matter if he was healthy and practicing all of camp. Don't expect anything from Sternberger this season. I think it's unfair to expect him to do anything. I think it's unfair.
No, he's going to do stuff this season.
What's he going to do, Jason?
Well, it may not be right away, but he's going to be a part of the offense.
He's going to play. He's going to play, and he might even have some touchdowns. But what I'm saying is I
think Jay Sternberger is going to have the most touchdowns of any tight end on this roster.
Not yet. He's not.
Yes,
Look,
he is.
Broken thumb or not, I'm sticking on. And this is more stubbornness than anything.
Jay Sternberger will have more touchdowns than any other tight end on this roster, and that includes anybody that they might sign or bring in. And I'm saying this right now, looking all of you dead in the eye.
You know what, Jason?
I own it.
How much have you been drinking?
Absolutely.
Nothing. Jason's sober.
I am drinking Bye. And it's got caffeine. There's no booze inside. There's no kombucha.
There's vodka in there. He mixed some vodka in there.
Jay Sternberger is going to play meaningful snaps, but he's going to have to play sooner than they necessarily
meaningful.
wanted him to.
Yes.
Well, then how's he not going to make an impact?
Because that's playing meaningful. There's 11 guys on the field at one time, Jason. They don't all make an impact on meaningful snaps. There's 11 guys that play meaningful snaps. Brandon Bostic played a meaningful snap against Seattle, and it turned out to be a trash bag. So just because he's on the field for the snap doesn't mean that he's going to have high-level impact.
Just remember, that was Jeremy, not Jason. Jeremy VanDerLinden is the one that made that comment. Jeremy VanDerLinden is the one that riled all of you up and decided to dance with the devil with that one reference. Why? Of all of the things that you could have, he scored a touchdown.
Because
at some point in some game, he did a Lambeau lead.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about Sternberger. He'll score a touchdown at some point, but I don't think that he's going to be an impactful guy in important moments in games this year. And I think it's okay to think that.
Well, that's going to be a problem then, because if Jimmy Graham is hurt and he can't start the season, or even worse,
we have the answer, and the chat agrees. Say it with me, Robert Tonyan. Robert Tonyan. I think Robert Tonyan scores the most touchdowns in the tight end group this year. Actually, no. Okay. I want to say that. I feel good about saying that. But because there was a bold prediction that Jimmy Graham would score 10 touchdowns. I think it was 10.
Yeah.
I'm being stubborn. I'm being stubborn. And I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to believe in Jimmy Graham until I don't believe in Jimmy Graham. I'm believing today. Ask me after week 1, and I'll let you know. But for today, I'm believing. But Robert Tonyan can have an impact on this offense, on key downs. He can play a key role in this offense, and he can do it before Jay Sternberger.
I hope you're right then, because if Graham is missing time or he's not starting the season, then they're obviously going to need a solution to that. There's been some talk about if they need to get a guy, Delaney Walker could be let go by the Tennessee Titans, and he played under Matt LaFleur last year. There's a connection there. Walker's a veteran tight end. That could be a stopgap if the Packers decide to go that route. I don't know if they would. We're obviously speaking way ahead before we know anything that's going on. Everybody's expecting Aaron Rodgers to come back and be more of himself, which means he's going to throw these guys open. Jimmy Graham's going to improve organically because Aaron Rodgers is throwing the ball. All of that's good and fine. I had a conversation with Tyler Grzegorek.
You tried. I'm
always inside my head with his name. Earlier on Twitter today, and we kind of shared some thoughts back and forth. I am apparently very much less concerned if Jimmy Graham does have to miss time than a lot of other people, because tight end is right now really just kind of 4 guys and none of them are super.
I'm with you. I'm not convinced that this group, healthy or not, is a good group of tight ends. This is the group of tight ends I want my team to go to war with. That's just not. I am not satisfied with the list of guys there because Jimmy Graham is old. He's very clearly much slower than he used to be. Mercedes Lewis. Have we seen Mercedes Lewis in the preseason yet?
We didn't even see Mercedes Lewis in the regular season last year because.
Well, there's a reason for that, and we all know it. That was not why sign a guy if Mike McCarthy doesn't plan to use him or isn't going to use him? Mike McCarthy did not scheme.
I'm not in the mood for drama, Jeremy.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay,
thanks,
why
Mike.
Mercedes Lewis wasn't used.
So I'm not comfortable with this tight end group in the first place. I'm just not. In that, I see the core young pieces that can be good later, but it's not there today, and I don't think that it's fair to put a lot of weight on the group. Jimmy Graham being hurt sucks, but I don't know that it's something to be super concerned over because
the drops. Okay, if you look at the chat, and I don't know who's who in the chat, but the most common thread I'm seeing is can't catch the ball, the drops, and that's what everyone remembers. I remember that too. Look, if you're out there playing, you have to be effective. If you're going to say I'm good to go and I can play even though you have a broken thumb, you still got to play well.
Right, you got to catch the ball.
Brett Favre broke his thumb in 2003 and still quarterbacked this team to a near miraculous playoff run because he was like, if I'm going to play, I got to be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're going to be out there and play. You got to catch the ball, and especially if you're a pass catcher. I'm just saying.
There's a lot going on there at the tight end group that mostly is just mediocre.
It is,
and that sucks.
But that could be okay because if it's a cornerstone and the offense is gonna be better, maybe we don't need burners out there. I'm just saying Jimmy Graham is hurt and he may miss time. So you decide, fans out there, whether or not you're panicking over it or you're not. I'm not. A lot of other people want to. Okay,
well,
that's fine.
For an offense that likes to run 2 tight end sets, that sucks.
Yeah, it does.
This is an important group.
But, it does. But you've
good-
got Jay Sternberger, and you can still put Lewis out there as your second guy, and maybe throw the ball to Mercedes Lewis once in a while because he can catch.
And you cannot forget Big Bob Tonyan.
Robert Tonyan. Actually, the thing about Tonyan, though, that I think is going to happen, because I like to make predictions that drive everyone crazy. And, by the way, does anybody remember last year before the second Bears game, the prediction that I made of how the game was going to end and what was going to happen near the end of the game?
I remember, and it was terrible.
And
Let's not talk about it. You suck.
That is exactly what happened.
You suck.
Robert Tonyan this season is going to absolutely amaze the pants off of all of us in moments. He is going to equally frustrate the pants right back on us.
So he can take off my pants and put them back on?
They will come right back
That's
on.
impressive.
Don't get excited because they're coming back on at some point.
Impressive.
And I don't know whether that is going to be impactful or a bigger positive or negative. That's just my take on Robert
All right,
Tonyan.
let's move on from tight ends.
All right,
We're not happy with the situation, but it is what it is for
Jimmy
now.
Graham. Okay, so back to preseason game 2. You said you don't want to talk about it because it was a big steaming pile of garbage, but we have to talk about it.
I do
because
have
that
one
was the
thing.
last meaningful football the Packers played.
There's a few things, a few pieces in there that I was happy with. I thought Curtis Bolton played well. And very clearly, this coaching staff has Bolton ahead of Summers. Very clearly, no question.
Well, he
it's
is
been
now.
that way in practice, and it was that way in the game. It's not just now, because they played Summers a lot in week 1, but throughout practices, even then and since then, it's been Bolton first. And then this week, who played first? Curtis Bolton. Curtis Bolton is going to be your tight end, your starting linebacker, alongside Martinez. He'll be your base defense inside linebacker, not a tight. I'm still stuck on tight end.
Ty Summers trying to tackle in this past game, I'm only talking about Thursday night's game against the Ravens, reminded me of Mr. Miyagi and Danielson trying to catch flies with chopsticks. Now, Danielson did catch one eventually, but how many others
did he miss?
Were missed? That is what Ty Summers trying to tackle looked like on Thursday. It was abysmal.
Look, you can't get too upset.
Yes, you can.
It is preseason football. It's preseason football, and there are ebbs and flows to preseason. They're figuring things out. I would rather they figure out in week 2 of preseason that they're shitty at tackling than in week 2 of the regular season. This is the time. If you're going to realize that you suck at something, this is the time to do it.
Great. Well, here's the problem with that, Jeremy.
It's the only time you can do it, because in the offseason, you don't tackle anybody.
You play like you practice, and that's how the Packers are going to look in week 2 and now. So what now? What next? It's not going to be cleaned up in week 2. This is how this team plays. This is how this team decides to play defense. Did you see the Ravens tackled? And maybe the approach to the game is different, and maybe these players are instructed, hey, take it easy, don't go crazy. We're going to talk about Rashad Gary. Don't worry, those of you in the chat that are itching to talk about Rashad Gary, we are going to talk about him. I don't know what the marching orders were in these games, but I guarantee you putting on tape that kind of tackling
was not it.
Was not the plan.
Okay. I think that you're being unfair. And let me tell you why. I think Packers fans are being unfair. Here's why. When is the only time that we get to see a team on tackling, like whether or not they can actually tackle? And when's the only time coaches can see that their team can tackle or not? Because they're not practicing it, but they're not the only team. There are lots of teams in the NFL not practicing live tackle. In fact,
these are
there
professional football players that have been playing football for at least 10, 15 years.
But you have to play live football to correct the issues that are there,
I'm a
especially
professional
when you can't
baseball
see
player,
them.
but I can't hit a baseball because there's no live hitting in practice. I only get the 4 at-bats a game to work on hitting.
Okay.
You're a professional.
Okay, look.
Tackling is the game. That's what you
If
do.
a professional baseball player didn't hit in practice, he would struggle to hit in a game. And they don't tackle in practice. So is that on the players?
Why are some teams better at tackling than others then? Are they cheating and practicing more than they should, or are some teams better at it and their coaching staff emphasizes it more?
Not every coach knows how to coach things well, right?
Fair.
And what if the coaching staff in Green Bay isn't as good at coaching tackling as, for example, the coaching staff in Baltimore, who for years has been a fantastic defensive team? They do tackle really well. That's consistent for them. It's a culture there. But I think more than that, some coaches have figured out the science of teaching tackling without having to actually tackle in practice, and some just haven't, and that's the problem. The Packers need to crack the code. They haven't cracked it yet. Yeah, it's real shitty. We've been waiting for good tackling for years.
That's the problem, though, is that tackling has been an issue with this team through how many coaching staffs now, how many defensive coordinators, how many different defensive coaches. Like, what is it in the air and the water in Green Bay that makes this such a challenge? Like, get guys on the ground. Just do it.
I think the only answer to consistent tackling in the NFL, there's only one answer. Practice tackling. Like, here's what needs to happen. In the next CBA, there needs to be some corrections made because the game has gotten very sloppy. There needs to be more practicing and more practicing with contact. I think they went too soft too quickly, and there's not enough shit being practiced that's important to the game of football, including tackling. It's important, and lots of teams are struggling with tackling. It's not just the Green Bay Packers.
No, you're right. If you thought, by the way, those of you who have your kids with you,
sorry,
we're off the rails.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll try to reel it in. I think we've used our allotment. You've used
too many.
You've used our allotment.
I'm drinking a beer. I've had half a beer. I don't know.
I understand what you're saying, and I think are you seeing also the players are staying after practice to work on stuff now? They're obviously not getting enough practice time. This is somehow, some way. I mean, as fans, we don't have to suffer through what the CBA brings. We only hope that it gets resolved quickly so that we don't miss any football.
Right.
But I think the practice time is going to end up being a bargaining chip, one way or the other.
Something needs to change in practice. And
but you've got to be able. But you've got to be able to tackle and look. So the thing is that yes, these guys are at a different level. You go from college to the pros, and they're faster, they're quicker, stronger, whatever. Tackling is still the same. The idea is still the same. The guy with the ball needs to go on the ground before he crosses the goal line.
It's a mentality you need to live in. It's a mindset. I'm going to hit that guy. I'm going to cream this dude, and I'm going to take him to the ground. It's a mentality you live in. And if you're not living in it most of the year because you don't practice it, when it's time to get on the field and do it, you're a little more timid than you should be. You should be living in the mindset that you are a butt kicker and you're going to get out there and kick some butt.
Bill Marsh in the chat has it right. He said, can you hear Vince? What the hell is going on out there? And I think we're going to say a lot of that this season because the tackling, I think it's going to be a problem all season long. I think we could see a redux of not in the same way. I hope it's not the 2011 defense all over again, but I see that ability to take the ball away. And I think there's going to be several games this season where they might not necessarily play fundamentally very well, but they're going to get so many takeaways that the defense is going to come out as a big hero. And that's fine. I even said, I put a piece up on Cheesehead TV today that said the Packers haven't showed us anything encouraging yet because we still need to see a crisp performance from them. They look good in the first game at home. They go on the road. They look like trash in Baltimore. This week's going to be weird because it's a Thursday night game in Canada on a surface that they don't play out, that's not meant for
it's all
going to
feel a little weird.
And there's hardly anybody going to this game, and I don't know why they're playing it on a Thursday and not a Saturday, but that's not part of the script. We'll talk about that next week after we see what it was. But I don't know that we're going to get the traditional dress rehearsal action that we typically do. Like week 3 is usually the dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to be the case or not.
This whole preseason is a little effed for the Packers because of Rodgers being hurt in this last game. And, there have been guys that have missed games that, like, the running back group is very important for this offense. And they haven't played. You haven't had Aaron Jones play. Now Jamal Williams is back at practice. Yay, yippee, wahoo, whatever. Wow. But they're not playing, and those guys need to be on the field together with Aaron Rodgers. They need to play together. So this whole preseason's been a little effed.
Yes.
And okay. So a couple of things. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because we have more to cover. I do want to hit some of this stuff in the chat. A couple of people saying Kevin Green was a big part of their success when they could tackle. I don't disagree with that, but there was a short time when he was in town where that wasn't great anyways. But I think that had more to do with the overall defensive coaching staff, who was leading that coaching staff. That started to fall apart before Kevin Green was gone. But I think Dom Capers was the issue there. That whole situation sucked for much longer than it should have. Kevin Green lives in the mentality of being a tail kicker. He just does. Yep. It's the way his brain works, and he coaches guys to be that way. I would argue that if you're not going to practice it, you need to mentally be practicing it, and a lot. It needs to be who you are, right? There are teams that live by that mentality that they are going to get you, right?
Yeah.
That is the Baltimore Ravens. Uh-huh. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They live in that reality. That is who they are.
The Packers are going to see some.
But you need to choose that. That's a choice they made.
They're going to see some good defenses out of the gate, and the reason why defenses tend to be really good is because guys they refuse to let the other side of the ball be successful.
Yeah.
So that's, to your point, true. So it's a mentality. It's part of the culture. And then you've got a couple weeks ago, you got Matt LaFleur defending Jay Sternberger and saying, hey, or kicking Josh Jones out of practice because, hey, we're not putting guys on the ground. We aren't tackling out here. So you got to figure something out because your guys don't look good in game action. Now, these are also to the point of a lot of these guys aren't going to be on the roster when the regular season starts. And a lot of others will say, and in addition to that, we're going to see sloppy football for the first 3 to 4 weeks anyway while these guys get their feet under them because they haven't played all preseason. We may not see some of these starters at all. I don't care if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play a single snap this preseason.
I do.
I don't care because I have my own opinion on what I think is going to happen week 1 anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So,
real quick.
So I don't think it's going to be a make or break.
Let's hit one last topic here with the defense. Let's hit one last topic here, and it's from Jacob in the chat. Asked, or he
Which
said,
Jacob?
honestly,
Schaefer?
Honestly, I think players are soft because they know each other and they don't want to hurt one another. Maybe I'm wrong, but the Packers need more tenacity and grit. I agree with the last part. I disagree with the other part. I don't give a crap if they know each other. Maybe it's part of it, like old school mentality football. There was no social media. Players didn't connect with each other the way that they do now.
They didn't like each other.
And
I enjoyed that part of it.
Maybe that's true.
There's too much, sharing jerseys after the game and
maybe that's
picture
true.
taking and.
I don't think that's it as much as practicing it.
It's different when it's Aaron Jones and his brother and that's family and stuff. That's
right.
fine. But when you've got,
there is a little too. I'll join you in that. There's a little too much love from team to team. Too many Bears players like too many Packers players, and that's a problem for me. Vikings players, same thing. Too many players on rival teams like each other. Rival teams are rival teams for a reason, and it used to be for a reason, and now it's because of the fan bases. We Packer fans hate Bears fans, but the Bears and the Packers don't care. They're going to go out to dinner with each other before the first game of the season. They're going to hang out with each other before the first game. Hell no. Back in the day, those guys would hate each other. And that's just not a thing anymore. So when you got on the field with dudes you hated, you wanted to punch him in the mouth.
Is Dick Butkus still even talking to Luke right now because he's a coach for the Packers? I mean, he's probably like disowned.
I don't know.
Because it's Dick Butkus.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't think that's the full case that.
Jacob Westendorf says Jason saw those games in the 50s. He would know. Thank you. That guy knows me very well. That's
does.
true. I did.
Yeah.
I did. I watched some of that hardcore football, and it was amazing. Before
Jason
Lombardi got
old.
there, it was very difficult and painful for me, but those glory years were a beautiful thing. I was also at the Ice Bowl. I'm one of the 832,000 people who were at the Ice Bowl.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
I didn't know Lambeau Field had that many back then. They must have shrunk it.
Jason Wilde's favorite joke, one of his favorite jokes.
Okay, so Jacob, I don't think that is the full case, but maybe that plays in a little bit. Okay, let's move on. What's the next topic? What are we talking about?
Rashad Gary. A lot of people took exception to his effort. He's played a lot in the first 2 games of the preseason. He has 0 statistics to show for it. No sacks, no tackles. He's dogging it out there. The reports are that he's still learning the defense. Some are saying he's taking it easy on purpose. Why would a rookie take it easy? These are all things that have been thrown out there. I'm just throwing them out there. I'm not saying that's what I think. Are you concerned with what you've seen so far?
I want to answer that question. Mostly, I'm going to need you to ask it of me again because I stopped listening to you. Because in the chat, Nick says that we sound like old heads. Back in my day, dude, I'm 33. Back in my day was probably back in your day. But the point is, I understand what football mentality used to be. Right?
I will take on all of the old man shrapnel. That's perfectly fine.
I'm not that old, man. Back in my day, football used to be more violent. Well, that's true. It did in the 90s. It was more violent than it is today. But there are some issues you need to point at about the tackling issues in the NFL. Moving on.
I don't even know what back in my day is because I watched some 80s football, 90s, 2000s, and now. So what is my day? This is my day right now.
I guess your current day is really always your day. But what was the best day? What was your best? If you look back in football, what do you think were the best years of football?
January 26, 1997.
That's not that long ago, man. It's just not that long ago. Okay. Moving on. What was the question? Ask it again.
Rashad Gary. So I was talking about some of the reactions people had to his effort and his play in this past game. He's played the majority of this, not the majority of, a lot of snaps in the first 2 preseason games. He has no stats, no sacks, no tackles. He doesn't look good. He's not fast. Yeah. He's getting all this love in practice, but it doesn't show up on the field. Are you concerned? He was a 14th overall pick, damn it.
No.
Are you concerned?
No.
12th.
No.
Actually. Was he 12th or 14th?
No, I'm not concerned.
Number 12.
I'm not concerned because he is what everybody said he is. And that's not always the most positive, but the reality is he can be what many people are saying he can be. There is potential within this dude. He is not ready yet. And okay, yeah, they drafted him really high. Totally understand your point. I am not surprised or shocked with what Rashad Gary has done. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping he would blow some of us away. He's been
you know what?
solid in practice.
Real quick. Hold that thought. Jake Westendorf, I know you're listening. Do me a favor, if you will. Either text me or write in the chat the arguments about what he did at Michigan versus in the NFL, because it's a different world in college. And he was triple teamed in college and now he's not and all that. How much validity is there to what we see, or how much correlation is there between what we see now in the first 2 preseason games with Rashad Gary versus what we saw at Michigan? Shoot me a note or write something in the chat.
Okay.
Carry on.
So I'll say this. I think everybody who has praised Rashad Gary from practice, Andy Herman, any beat writer who has praised him, would agree with this statement. Rashad Gary is big and fast and athletic. He looks very strong.
You just got buzzed. Did you say
What was
something
that?
wrong?
Did somebody just ring your doorbell?
No, it's the dryer.
Clothes are clean. Clothes are dry. He looks strong and fast. He looks very athletic. He also looks out of control. He looks one-dimensional.
Well, he can't look out of control if he's dogging it from sideline to sideline. I
think
don't
he's
really love this
when
game
he gets
speed.
when he goes into pass rush, he looks out of control like he doesn't have a plan. That's what I'm talking about. When the ball snaps and he starts to go after it, he doesn't have a plan. And when you don't have a plan, you are out of control. You know why he doesn't have a plan? Because he has one pass rush move and he needs to add to his repertoire. That's just the way it is.
Well, that's going to take time, obviously. Now, Clay Matthews, everyone wants to compare Rashad to Clay Matthews, and they're both 52, and it was 10 years apart, and there's so many reasons why we should do that. But we shouldn't, because they're not the same player.
Right.
So
Right.
Clay Matthews didn't start when he first came out.
But he was a playmaker pretty quick.
Yeah, he was. But
So-
Rashad Gary can become that, though.
Right, he can. That's the thing. He can. Things have not looked great today, but wait. Just wait. Just wait until the defense starts to scheme in a way that works for him. And this defensive coaching staff is the type that will do that, okay? They're not just going to send him out there and just say, hey, man, just do your best, buddy. Just do your best.
Okay.
No, they're going to try to use the skills that dude has and scheme him into some blitzes, and it's going to work.
No, it is going to work. Here's what Jake Westendorf says. Thank you, my brother. He says he plays standing up in the NFL, hand in the dirt at Michigan. His job, per the defensive coordinator at University of Michigan, was basically strong side run defender and hold the point of attack. Not what he's going to be asked to do in Green Bay.
Totally
Don
new.
Brown basically said he built the entire defense around Rashad Gary, but you don't know that because Rashad Gary's almost like a Mike Daniels where he does a lot of dirty work that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but everybody else around him eats. That's why Kenny Clark has become what he's become probably because he had Mike Daniels next to him. It's going to be interesting to see, how that dynamic plays off this season. So that's basically that right there. You got to give it some time. Now, effort, though,
Right.
You got to put a better effort on tape, son.
Pac-Man Jake makes a good point. Clay isn't as athletic
Nobody's
as
as
Rashad.
athletic as Rashad Gary.
That's true. But Clay had more in his toolbox when he showed up to work. Okay? And I would argue that Rashad Gary isn't dogging it. He's learning a new position. He probably mentally is playing slow because it's a lot for him to understand. It's a lot for him to pick up.
But I don't agree with the reason I don't agree with that is because if I'm out there and I don't know exactly what I'm doing, I do know that I want the ball carrier on the ground. So if I don't know what I'm supposed to do and the ball is in the air or it's handed off, all I'm going to do is try to kill the ball carrier. And he's not even doing that.
All I'm saying is you got to give that guy at least half a season to really start evaluating what he's been doing, especially if he's learning something totally new to him. And really, honestly, we got to wait and see what's going to happen a few seasons from now with Rashad Gary. Now, Nick Perry was a guy. Let's look at the career of Nick Perry as a Green Bay Packer. Flashed sometimes. Got hurt a lot, was a big disappointment, right? But there was always like high hopes for him. But how long did it take?
You take the mirror.
How long did it take until Nick Perry, you were like, I'm done?
When you take the mirror and you play with the sunlight, and if you just hit it just right, like bam, there it is. That was Nick Perry's career. It was like every once in a while you would hit the sun and just hit it perfectly.
Here it is.
But it was never like a straight, shiny thing.
I think Daniel asked if he played Michigan State. No, Michigan. He was at Michigan.
It was at U of M.
Yeah, it was at U of M.
Michigan.
Okay, so.
And there is, so Persian Scribe says Rashad's shoulder will not last the season, mark my words. He does have a shoulder issue.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, so the reason I bring up Nick Perry, though, is because of how long did it take for you to give up on Nick Perry?
That was my negative phase of life. Like, I was pretty much done with Nick Perry by about the second or third club hand.
Oh, okay.
It was an annual tradition.
Okay, yeah,
Nick
okay.
Perry's
So
hand
you're
is
saying
clubbed.
year 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It was quick.
But that's more time than people are giving Rashad Gary. Slow down. Calm down.
There's
give
one
it some time.
in particular that we can point to who thinks Rashad Gary is the world's largest single biggest mistake in this draft.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Which kind of parlays into our next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is fan reactions are just
over the
social
top.
media is obviously only growing, and I get it. I mean, it's a way for us to connect and interact, but man, if you're going strictly off of social media and you didn't watch any game, you literally would not know what the Packers are, because half of them think the Packers are terrible and they're going 0-16, and half of them still think it's fine and they're going to get it together and they're going to go 14-2 and win the Super Bowl.
It's already meltdown city, especially on Twitter. But Twitter is like permanent. Actually, since a few years ago, Twitter has been permanent meltdown city. That's all that happens on Twitter.
And that's what's changed media. And that's why everybody now is – so there was a conversation on Twitter between yesterday and today, Saturday and Sunday, about journalism being so tainted. Now, this is really one person, and I don't think this person's a credible source,
right.
But it's just an example. So tainted, and it's completely – lowered the standards of journalism, because it's not about being objective and reporting what is. It's about sensationalism and getting clicks and exciting people. So, for example, Andy Herman, Cheesehead TV's attended a lot of practices, and he's literally just reporting what he sees. Right. Rashad Gary blows up Jason Spriggs in a one-on-one drill and says, Rashad Gary just won a one-on-one rep. He's just saying what he saw.
Like that happened.
And some people took exception to the fact that, it was Jason Spriggs. Why are you reporting on this? You're overinflating Rashad Gary's accomplishments and his abilities because it was Jason, the turnstile Spriggs. He's not even on the team anymore. That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is sometimes you got to read this and realize, and people look inwardly and ask yourself, what is going on in your own life that you're getting so irritated already about Packers football.
Let's not spend too much time on the topic,
this is exactly
because
what
I do
want to
say
about.
I do want to agree with you.
This is exactly what we're talking about, though.
But I feel like giving it too much attention is
it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
I saw the chat. I saw the conversation you're talking about, and it goes beyond that. He was complaining about guys like Andy Herman and Bill Huber and beat writer guys as being part of the PR machine for the Green Bay Packers. Called them paid PR members. Paid. He mentioned that they were paid. Like, paid by the Packers? Andy Herman is not paid by the Green Bay Packers, okay? And so here's the thing. This is where it ends for me. This is people who are that angry about life, right? That they would get mad when somebody's positive about Rashad Gary, even though it's been a little up and down, right? He said one slightly positive thing about Rashad Gary, and this dude flipped out, right? Here's the thing. If you don't like what you're seeing, you don't have to consume it.
Don't consume it or don't respond.
When I go to a sandwich shop and I order a sandwich and I don't like that sandwich, you know what I don't do? Continue eating the shitty sandwich and then tweet about it to sound like some genius sandwich connoisseur. Calm the hell down, okay? Nobody cares that you hate Andy Herman and Bill Huber and all of these people. Nobody cares. In fact, when you say things like that, people look at what you say and say to themselves, this is not a person that I value their opinion of at all. Like, nobody values the opinion of a person who attacks somebody directly because they didn't like their thoughts. Here's a way to handle it. You think that Rashad Gary is not playing very well and that Andy Herman gave him a little too much credit. How about trying this instead? Okay, Rashad Gary had one good snap in practice. That's great to see, but let's consider who he was playing against. Okay? Let's consider the facts about it.
And
Jason Spriggs. So let's temper our expectations a little and not get too excited. End of story. You didn't even have to mention Andy Herman and you made your point. But people can't do that. You can't allow other people to have a platform and to talk about things that they're talking about and to be happy doing it because you're generally just a very unhappy person in the first place. Put down the sandwich that you think is shitty and find yourself a new sandwich. Well, you can order roast beef instead. There are other places for you to find Packers information. Yeah. Just go find it, man.
Get someone if you don't agree with their takes or their approach to it, but don't sit there and tell guys like Nagler and Andy Herman, and in this case, in this conversation, it was Mike Clemens. Mike does an awesome job.
Dude, Mike Clemens, to me, personally, Mike Clemens is my favorite beat writer.
I love listening.
Dude's the man.
I mean, I listen to most everything that's out there just because I want to take in and a lot of it is connected to my family of work, so I want to support them too. But Clemens is one where it's like, in particular, I might listen to that one first.
When there's Mike Clemens audio content, which.
And you've got someone sitting there questioning and saying, sit there questioning and saying like, well, why are you blowing smoke and sunshine and not, being more objective? And, I mean, if there's one person who misses Bob McGinn, it's the guy that I'm referencing, who I'm not saying the name.
All right.
But it's just know if you think you sound crazy, you probably do.
Matt called me insightful. I don't know if that was an actual compliment or sarcasm.
On game day, I call it, listen, just so you know, if you haven't experienced the season with me yet, I call it like I see it. If somebody's
Brandy calls for goat yoga. Sorry.
Pathetic or awful, I'm going to say that was pathetic.
Yeah.
And when I do, it's that snap. It doesn't mean I think the Packers are pathetic.
Right.
It
was
doesn't
that
mean
one?
I'm not a fan anymore.
That one.
It means that one play was pathetic. It was bad. The Packers are going to look bad at some point this season. Guess what? So are the Patriots. So are the Steelers. So are the Ravens. So are the Cleveland Browns. Okay, so that's just the way it goes. If you want sunshine and rainbows, you might want to consider being careful who you follow, because football is a violent game.
All right. What's next? What is next?
Backup quarterback.
This is a hot topic.
I talked about my Game Balls post where I kind of biffed it and only gave Deshaun Kaiser a lame call because he's supposed to be the backup, and he has not looked anywhere near capable. I mean, if either one of these two guys, or three guys really, Manny Wilkins, I love you. Go fork him.
Okay, whatever that
Sun
is.
Devils.
Yep.
Sun Devils.
I know.
ASU.
I know.
Okay, don't ever do that again.
Yeah, I know. There's something you need prayer. I don't know. You need something.
Prayer? Because I threw up my school's sign?
Yeah.
Okay. Dog.
You need revival. I don't know.
None of them are capable of winning a game. So if they're going to go with any of the backup quarterbacks they have on the roster right now, they're not going to do well if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and has to miss games. Everybody will sit here and say, well, duh, of course your team's not going to be as good if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and isn't playing.
Sure.
That is not the point.
Right.
Because the point is this. Another ASU connection. The new head coach, Herm Edwards. You play to win the game.
All the time.
You play to win the game.
Every time you play.
Yes, you're not going to have the same thing that you have with your starter if your starter is not out there. And Aaron Rodgers happens to be a different type of starter, so you lose a lot when he's not in there. Yeah. But twice Aaron Rodgers has missed half the season. Mm-hmm. And both times when he was ready to come back, he was worth coming back. It was worth coming back because they were still fighting for something. They actually still made the postseason in 2013.
With
shitty
quarterback play.
Yes.
Bad backups.
They could not have worse handled the preseason. They had Vince Young in camp. They cut him. They brought Seneca Wallace in 2 minutes before the season started. He gets hurt. Scott Tolzien is playing meaningful snaps. You bring in Matt Flynn halfway through the season. You tie the damn Vikings at Lambeau Field, and you limp your way, and Rodgers comes in and saves the day on 4th and whatever it was in Chicago. And the Packers go to the playoffs and should have won a playoff game, but they didn't. Sure. Thank you, Micah Hyde.
But they made it. They had a chance. They were in the playoffs.
But in 2017, they still had a chance, and that was the different story. That was your draftee. That was your draft and develop. Brett Hundley wasn't great, but he won them enough games and kept them in it enough so that Rodgers could come back and potentially still have a chance. And Rodgers came back, and he played against the Panthers. Unfortunately, they didn't win that game, and Rodgers probably wasn't totally ready. He didn't have enough zip on the ball. Gmo fumbled, and that was a key fumble.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't.
But they had a chance. But you still need to put the best guy back there. Well, so yesterday there was a conversation. Hold on.
Alongside that, I just want to hit that point, okay? I'm sorry. I want to hit that point. Aaron Rodgers came back, right, and they missed the playoffs. A better backup, a slightly better backup increases that chance. I'm not saying they need to be world beaters, starting quarterbacks, a slightly better backup. Sorry.
We have no visual.
Oh.
Yeah, we lost our camera.
But can you hear us?
Yeah, they can hear us. There's just no visual, which could be better.
Could be better.
Would actually be better for some of you. I don't know.
Hold on. I will work on this.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, so yesterday there was a conversation.
I think we're back.
Okay. Yesterday there was a conversation on our Facebook page, which we always appreciate. I always appreciate the engagement that we get from our fans. So thank you to those of you who comment. Even if you don't agree with what we're saying, that's fine. about the backup quarterback, and my good friend Jake Westendorf had some thoughts about backup quarterback, and if Aaron Rodgers goes down, the Packers are S-canned, and we don't practice S-canned. It just is what it is. And so why are we even having this conversation? Because nobody you bring in is better than what they have right now.
Okay.
There are some options out there, I think, whether they're necessarily viable or not, that might be better. The Packers have not gone the true veteran route in a long time, and I think
we're all sick of it.
I think it's time. Josh McCown just came out of retirement to go
to the Eagles.
For Philadelphia and with the Eagles. I don't know if he would have done the same with the Packers, and there's probably a bunch of people who are like, I don't want McCown because he's 55 years old and he's been in the league. I don't care. Fitzpatrick, I don't care. Can they win games?
Okay. Let me.
Can they win games? Because if they can win games, yes, they are worth bringing in more than the guys that are here right now.
So I'm sorry. There was a lot going on with the camera being dumb and me fixing that. You mentioned
Jake.
So you mentioned Jacob.
Hold on. Jake wants me to tell everyone. Tom Moore is the one who said we don't practice F. Everyone knows that.
Jake,
everyone knows that.
Okay, so this is what happened. I posted this thing, and it was choose your backup quarterback, basically. Like, let's play a game. Choose your backup quarterback. And I put up a few pictures. It was Jay Cutler, and it was Colin Kaepernick, and then, of course, the two guys that are in Green Bay right now.
Good night to the chat now after you just said that name.
I did. I said Jay Cutler. And most of this was just for the fun of the conversation. So relax, everybody relax. But I did add the list of the guys from Spot Track that are currently, at least according to Spot Track, available as free agents. Matt Castle, Mark Sanchez, who did retire, but I mean,
you said butt.
It's that is the beginning of this conversation.
Mark Sanchez,
right? But Mark Sanchez, butt fumble. Brock Osweiler, Brandon Weeden, Trevin Boykin, and Landry Jones. Landry Jones, of course, just signed a deal with the XFL, and I would bet that he's not able to come back to the NFL. He might not even want to. He probably wants a chance to start. So, anyways, within that comment or that post, we did get a lot of comments. One of them from Jacob Westendorf, who is with us tonight in the chat. Jacob, and I said that I was going to address his point, and so. What he was saying is that it sucks if Aaron Rodgers goes out. That's an overvalued position. That's like the basics, right? Here's the thing. It's not an overvalued position because a team not that far from Green Bay on the East Coast, Philadelphia, won a Super Bowl with their backup quarterback. So what the hell are we talking about that the backup quarterback position is overvalued? That is... You can't say that about the position where just Giants, a few years ago, a backup quarterback won the Super Bowl. And not only that, Tom Brady, the first time, okay, he's Tom Brady, so maybe I should slow down. He was a backup when Bledsoe got hurt and came in and won his team the Super Bowl.
Speaking of the 50s.
You invest in your backup quarterback, and you have opportunity and chance, and you increase those chances. And so if it's so undervalued or so overvalued and it's so unimportant, why carry any quarterbacks other than one? Just carry 12. Save a roster spot. Bring yourself an extra receiver. Don't carry any backup quarterbacks because it's an unimportant position. If you're totally screwed when Rodgers goes down, just sign one when he goes down. Don't carry one. I think it's just a silly, and Jacob is a genius. I think he's a super smart guy. I don't think he really believes what he wrote because it's it's a silly stance.
No. It's being, we're probably, it's the context.
Sorry, I got heated.
I mean, you got fired up. The context is not, is not what it was meant to be. And I, fortunately, am going to get a chance to chat directly with him about this.
He said he's going to go cry.
We're going to work because Jake and I are going to do Pulse of the Pack soon, and we'll talk about this on that show.
Yeah.
Because I think I know where Jake's coming from, and we're not addressing it the right way. Also, another Jake at Seeds of Jake put a video up on Twitter about why the Packers should not want Josh McCown. Go check that out. For those of you who do want Josh McCown, go watch that. He actually does some good film work. I'm assuming that's who is in the chat.
He can say whatever he wants. Put that film work next to Deshaun Kaiser's film work, and I still want Josh McCown.
Okay, that's
because
fine.
It's trash. What they have right now is so inconsistent, and it's been years of watching that same inconsistency because this team thinks that they can develop the next quarterback or a solid backup. But now I have an even bigger, more important and concerning question about this Packers team. Do they struggle to evaluate the quarterback position? Because they really believed in Deshaun Kaiser before he got drafted. They believed in him enough to trade for him. And they believed in Brett Hundley. And that turned into a train wreck. Does this team struggle to evaluate the quarterback position?
I don't know because there isn't much out there. So they're basically saying they're actually supporting what Jacob was saying. We don't think there's anything better out there than what they. Brian Gutekunst is not afraid to make a move.
Right.
So he would have made a move by now if they felt like they had something better out there. I think they're like, we can be patient. We expect Aaron Rodgers to play. If he's not going to play, our chances are diminished anyway. I'm feeding right into what Jacob said. So in terms of what I think the team might be their approach might be on it, and that's fine.
Then why?
And I don't think that. Listen, I'm
why
not
carry
saying,
one? Why carry one?
No. Because if he has to come out because he broke a fingernail or something, you got to have someone throwing the ball, and you don't have Jordy Nelson or Randall Cobb, who are your emergency glass in case of emergency quarterbacks on the roster anymore. Right. Or Kuhn.
You know what? If it's so
John Kuhn was an emergency quarterback.
But if it's so unimportant that if you're so screwed as soon as Rodgers gets hurt, play the freaking wing tee and move on. Don't carry a second quarterback because it's a wasted roster spot. If you're screwed when Rodgers gets hurt, don't waste a roster spot. And especially two guys. Now, I actually kind of like Tim Boyle. But two guys that so far have shown they're not really developing the way you thought they were.
What do you like about Tim Boyle?
I like that what I like about Tim Boyle is from last preseason, because this one has not really been fantastic.
He's made some throws. He actually made a couple today in practice.
He can move the ball. He can get the ball to move
Tim
downfield.
Boyle's a project. I want him at least on the practice squad. But I don't know if he's eligible because he was on the roster all of last year.
If you're going to keep Deshaun Kaiser or Tim Boyle, is Deshaun Kaiser that much better than Tim Boyle?
No, not right now.
They're both a project, right?
No, not right now. If they're keeping Deshaun Kaiser, it's about the investment and what they gave up, and what they perceive that they gave up. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you think Demarius Randall's worth a crap or not, they might perceive that what they gave up is worth hanging on and trying to make it work.
I like that last year when Tim Boyle came out in the preseason, he was able to move the ball down the field, even late in the game, right? And that's like the toughest time in preseason to move the ball because you're playing with a lot of scrubs. And even though you're playing against a lot of scrubs, it's sloppy football. It's tough to move the ball, and he's still able to do it. He can make some throws.
New offense, new coach, very young, very green quarterback.
Right.
If you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, that's the Tim Boyle benefit of the doubt.
Ty Summers was a quarterback. There's your emergency. Don't carry a backup. You got Ty Summers.
Ty Summers playing quarterback is almost the equivalent of somebody realizing halfway through their baseball playing career that they're left-handed and they've been hitting righty the whole time.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well,
I'm not exactly sure, that we unlock the Kraken that is Ty Summers and put a red jersey on him.
Right.
Okay, we got to take some questions because we're getting towards the end of the show. All right, so now you may come with your questions in any and all topics of any and all shapes and sizes.
Right, bring it. We ignored you a lot.
Please keep it clean in the chat, though. Yeah. If anybody has any questions.
Hey, and good news.
The crowd was very good listeners tonight.
They were.
Stuck in with us.
The video's still working, so we didn't totally break it.
No, I know. I don't know what happened there.
That's a total win.
I think in one of your rants, the volume got so high it actually did.
I think I punched the cord in my rage, and I broke the camera. So, let's see. How in the world didn't they just move Randall to safety? I think that with Randall, it was more than just a position issue, and then keep Taysom Hill. I don't disagree on the Taysom Hill thing, but I think a lot of people agree with that. Although that happened and it's over, and we can't really go back and fix that. The question about Randall has more to do with his personality and how he fit in the locker room. Because, yeah, sure, he could have played safety, and I think the Packers did make a mistake moving him to corner. I think they were desperate, and they picked a guy that they thought could switch to corner. They were desperate to make that happen because the corner position sucked. They shouldn't have done it. But at the end, when they traded him, he needed to go.
Yeah.
He was not a fit in Green Bay. He needed to go.
J.K. Scott is doing great. I don't know. He's okay. I don't not hate him.
Yeah, honestly, J.K. Scott did great.
I don't hate him.
That's good.
I misspoke
That's good.
There.
J.K. Scott did well last preseason, but what's important in where we're really going to see if he's doing well is when it gets cold. He did not do so well when it got cold.
Does Darius Shepard make this team? I think he does.
I think he does too. I'm not 100% convinced, but that's my pick. Like if I was the one choosing, I'd put Darius Shepard on the roster. I would.
Does
do that.
Josh Jones still get traded? Possible. It's possible. Curtis Bolton, because you've got the secondaries in decent shape. They've got the depth, and Curtis Bolton and James Crawford being okay at inside linebacker, and Oren Burks not being as hurt makes Josh Jones still a little bit more.
I think I think it's more possible now than it ever was before because he's sunk on the depth chart. The chances that he's getting in practices have lessened. He's not playing a lot in games. He is sunk on the depth chart, and so his value in Green Bay for the Packers is pretty low. That means, though, that if they did trade him, they're not going to get a ton for him. I think there was a train wreck in your living room just now.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Big thump.
Josh Jackson in all caps.
Has he progressed?
Should I read that? How you should read all caps? Should
No,
I
it just
yell
says, has Josh Jackson progressed? I don't know anything about what he's done.
Well, that's because he's been hurt. And he's finally back, but it's just been a slow go getting him started. I am not real convinced that Josh Jackson is going to be great.
No.
And that sucks. I like Josh Jackson. I like some of those interceptions he had in college were fantastic. However, he does look a little slow on the NFL level, has a hard time sticking with guys man-to-man, which man-to-man was his strength coming into the NFL. He was a man-to-man corner, but he seems a little slow, and he hasn't really worked on the outside. So I don't know.
Oh, buddy in the chat's got some great questions. Just firing at him
All right.
and in a majorly quick way. Has anyone played themselves onto or off the roster so far?
So far?
Onto the roster right now, I would have to say your top candidates are Curtis Bolton and Darius Shepard. For guys that have come out of nowhere and that had to play themselves onto the roster,
yeah,
those two guys
and then
probably.
off the roster, Jamon Moore.
Yeah, Jamon Moore.
And Josh Jones. I don't think Josh Jones has done anything to solidify a spot on the 53.
He hasn't really played. And
but that's the thing. He's practicing.
But that's my thought. My thought, though, is that him not playing could be the team's way of saying, hey, we know we're keeping him and we want to keep him safe, or we don't want him to get hurt.
Maybe. Doubt it. Doubt that that's the
running backs were not catching low yardage passes, mainly on screens. What gives? When you say, Brandy asks, not catching, were they dropping? Or are we saying that they weren't?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The running backs were not catching low yardage passes, mainly on screens. What gives? Did he have drops?
I think there were a couple of there's more than just the running backs not catching the ball. There were inaccuracy issues, like the ball was just off. The defense standing
well,
right.
Boyle fumbled a snap on the handoff too, so that was.
It was just really, Brandy, chalk it up to really sloppy football from everyone, not just that one position in that moment, but like everyone on the field sucked in that very moment of football, pretty much. And by that I mean the whole freaking game. They all sucked. Okay.
Who are you most excited to see play on The Office in the regular season? I don't know what that
offense means. In the regular season. Who are you most excited?
No, it says on The Office.
They mean offense, clearly. Well, I'm excited to see Dwight Schrute on The Office.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'm excited to see Aaron Jones. I'm still excited to see Aaron Jones. I'm concerned that he's not going to stay healthy, but my offensive guy that I'm most excited to see this year is Aaron Jones and what Matt LaFleur plans to do with him this year.
Mine is Elton Jenkins and Cole Madison.
You know what? I like Elton Jenkins. I don't think Cole Madison's doing much this year. I don't think he's going to play too much. If he does,
I just want to know because it seems like
Jenkins
is going to eventually move Lane Taylor along, and I
think Jenkins wins the starting role away.
And then well, that's fine. That's best case scenario. But if he does, that means he's on the left. He's on the left side though.
Yeah,
not on the right. The right side's still going to be Billy Hunter and Bulaga at right tackle. At least for this season.
So Brett says Lazard is a bad man, and Pac-Man Jake says I don't think Allen makes it. Allen Lazard. I agree. I don't think he makes the team. I like him, but I think he ends up on the practice squad, and maybe next season he gets a real shot.
Is Rodgers emotionally capable of embracing the check down throw? He better damn well be this season. If he doesn't, you're going to see some serious negativity.
Well, it's a key part of Matt LaFleur's offense, so he's going to have to freaking figure it out. Although I will say this, to his credit. In practice, there has been a lot of times that he's thrown to the fullback, which I love so very much.
Yeah, but that fullback is injured right now.
I know.
It's Bohannon. It's not Vitaly.
Yeah, they went and got Bohannon, which I thought about. Have you ever watched Hell on Wheels? No. I thought about getting a Bohannon clip from Hell on Wheels. That would have been awesome, but then I was lazy and didn't do it. So Bohannon, which did not impress, but nobody impressed last Thursday, so I don't think it's fair to say he sucks. Besides, he's played some football. In a similar offense, doing the similar things in Jacksonville. So
who's our touchdown hawk this season? It's Davante Adams.
Oh yeah.
Tay Adams.
Davante is going to lead the offense in touchdowns. No question. He's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a good year.
Persian Scribe says Lane Taylor might get cut because he does not fit the outside zone scheme at all. I do not want Lane Taylor off this roster.
I want him on it.
He doesn't have to start, but I don't want him cut.
He's right.
He
doesn't fit the outside zone scheme.
I don't want him cut.
But I don't want him cut. He's a great backup. If Lane Taylor comes in because you have an injury and he's got to come fill in, I am happy with that situation.
Evernight 2020. Will the next quarterback drafted be viewed as Rodgers' eventual replacement? Yes, because it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. The Packers are going to somehow figure out a way to make this happen because, spoiler alert, if they don't, I am going to absolutely melt down and lose it on this show.
Are you going to cry?
There's going to be a lot of emotions.
You're talking about the kid from Clemson,
negative.
Right?
Yes.
That kid looks like a stud. He just is a stud, man. So
I don't know what season we have to tank to get him. It might be next year.
I think it'll be this next draft.
No. This is his sophomore season. He's got to play at least this year and next year.
I thought he was going into his junior year.
He's a freshman.
He was a freshman last year.
Yeah, a true freshman.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so it's this year and next year.
Yeah, I want whatever.
Win the championship this year, tank next year.
Right. Newsflash, they're not winning the championship this year.
Push the down lever for Trevor.
Tony Manders versus Derek.
Terrible.
I probably shouldn't read this question from Oh Buddy. Tony Manders versus Derek Sherrod. Who blocks more out of 20 snaps?
I don't even know.
Well, Derek Sherrod probably broke his ankle.
How many more years
in the
does
first
Crosby
snap,
realistically have? This is a good question because Ficken got some good snaps and opportunities. I'm still not convinced the Packers want Crosby to be their kicker.
Crosby is the kicker this year unless somebody moves on from a very good kicker at the end of camp. And that will only happen if somebody's making too much money.
Apparently everybody wanted this, whatever the guy is.
The guy that went to Minnesota.
The dual kicker for the Vikings.
Sure, whatever. I'm not. If somebody gets cut because they're making too much money, that's the only chance the Packers are moving on from Mason Crosby this year. However, I will say I'm going to give him, like, years with the Packers, I'll give him 2 tops. I think the Packers are ready to do something different. I mean, They were in on that dude. They were in on that. The Packers. It's not that fans wanted that guy that went to Minnesota. The Packers were in on that. They tried to make that happen for a reason. They're ready to move on. Pac-Man Jake says he thinks Mason has about 5. That is a lot. 5 is a lot. I don't think it's going to be quite that much.
All right. Let's see. What else we got here? How much do you think Vitale will be utilized this season? If it's up to the quarterback, a lot because they like him.
Yep. They do like him. They do like Vitale, and I think it's going to be a lot. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Where is Jason sitting for the Panthers game on November 10th? Can we talk Jeremy into joining too? Well, if that happens, then we have no show at the Watershed that week.
I'm okay with that. Listen, you can talk me into it.
Okay, well, then you got to come to the Panthers game. Jake, I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, I am not sitting in a corner. And I'm going full ticket snob, and I only sit between the 30s and the lower bowl.
Jake, I will sit with you wherever you want to sit.
No, but Jake, is very successful right now, and so he's going to treat himself after having welcomed a brand new, beautiful baby into this world just a few months prior to nice seats.
So I do want to say, you can persuade me, and I'll help you out. This is how you do it. I have a baby coming in a month. Okay, so first of all, I'd have to convince my wife. That would be really hard. However, I could do that if you go to patreon.com/Cheesehead TV Live and you support the show. Hey, with enough support from you guys, I could go to the Packer game in November.
No,
and who knows?
No. Don't make it about that.
Maybe we have a show in Green Bay.
Do you see this? Do you see this here? Right here?
This empty space?
That's why.
We need
a green screen or something more fun back
We need
here
something up here. And the way that's going to happen is with your support. We need a little more support for the show, and that will help us to buy cooler stuff to show you on the show. But if you want to see us both in Green Bay in November, you could do that too. Just let us know. We'll do whatever you want. Just hit up Patreon. Patreon.com.
Okay,
/Cheesehead TV Live.
Okay, last question of the night before we sign off here. Is 10-6 crazy this year, guys? Hit with the hard honesty. I don't think it's crazy.
No.
But I do think after what I've seen so far, I think the calls for a very conservative 9-7 are more validated. I could see it. I could see 9-7 happening.
I could see 10 wins, and I'm okay to say 10 wins. I don't think, and I hate to say this right now because there's a lot of time left, today, at this moment, and I might change my mind, I don't think the Packers make the playoffs this year. I think that's okay. First-year coach, there's a lot that's changing. There's a lot they need to get figured out. I don't think they make the playoffs this year. 10 wins could happen. I think it might be a little less than that. And I think they barely missed the playoffs. And I think Jason has talked to me about this. We've talked for a little while about it. Do you want to share your prediction on that, or do you want to hold it? Do you want to hold that?
I'll say you already teased it, so I'm going to say it because all right. Because somebody was asking about what I was talking about earlier with Week 1. I don't think Week 1 is going to. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I don't think it's going to turn out the way we want it to in the end. I think that the Packers this season, because they have a new coach, the way they've played, all the different factors, and for whatever reason, it's just my Nostradamus take coming to me for a reason. The only reason I can think of is just my gut feeling, is that the Packers are going to – I don't know what's going to happen the first 12 games, but the Packers for the last 4 weeks of the season, the last 4 games this season, are going to be the best team in the NFL. They are going to look rock solid.
Love it.
And miss the playoffs.
Hate that.
And – we are going to be so frustrated because they're going to be the most dangerous team in the NFL. They don't make the playoffs because they didn't win enough games earlier in the season. and we're going to be talking about a monster 2020.
Sean McVay did. I'm assuming you're saying Sean McVay made it to the playoffs. So
Yeah, he
here's
did.
the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I don't think they won't.
Great
They
for
could.
him. It's not a common occurrence. It's okay to say that the team might miss the playoffs this year. I don't want them to miss the playoffs. I'm tired of watching shitty football, and I'm tired of us not covering games in the playoffs. Jason and I have not covered a football game in the playoffs together. That has not happened because the time that we've been doing this show and doing it over at the Watershed, which this is what, our third year?
Yeah, but both seasons have been terrible.
The
17 and 18
first
were
two
both bad.
seasons have been terrible, and we don't want to watch that anymore. However, it takes time for a new coaching staff to get their crap together, to get their team running the way they want it to. This team might not be fully built the way that Matt LaFleur wants his team to look yet either, so there's going to be some more changes next offseason. I think it's fair to say they won't make it. I think that's the
Packers are
end
gonna
of the
be,
show.
The Packers are going to be fun this season. They're going to be fun to watch, but they're going to get hot too late, and it's going to be they're going to come up just short.
Yep.
All right, everybody, you all know where to follow us and find the show. Thanks so much for listening and tuning in. No, we're not Nagler and Banky for the 80 billionth time. This is Cheesehead TV Live. We have had a blast doing this. Ticket King for all of your Wisconsin sporting events, especially your Packers games, because you need that secondary market if you're going to go to a game at Lambeau Field. Again, those of you who are going to be at the 4th preseason game, let me know. I should be in the house. We'll be in the house. And any parting thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Don't miss out on the the soon-to-be giveaway for the Blake Martinez 8x10. We're going to be giving away an autographed 8x10 as the season draws nearer. So join the Facebook group. That is facebook.com/groups/CheeseheadTV Live. Actually, I said that wrong, and I think I said it wrong earlier. /CHTV Live.
So all the people who bailed on us because we're not Nagler and Banky now are going to the wrong.
That's okay. Whatever. That probably doesn't exist. So facebook.com/groups/CHTV Live. Too much beer. Half a beer's too many beers.
All right.
And that's it.
As
Twitter,
always.
Jason Perone, CHTV Live. Don't follow me. That's it. Jason, say what you're going to say.
As always, go Pack Go. Thanks so much for following Cheesehead TV Live.